Hello, welcome back. We are going to be doing another food preservation day. Um, if you're new to my channel is Louisiana Cooking and Living, and I have a garden outside and have 13 chickens and doing a little food preservation projects. Recently, we did some freeze drying and made some extracts in the last couple of videos. And today we're going to be making, if you can't tell from my ingredients, salsa. I've already roasted some of my tomatoes I had gotten off my plants, put them in the freezer as they would come in. I'd roast them and put them in the freezer to save them for making salsa. My friend had asked me to do this recipe for her. These are Roma tomatoes that I grew on my plants, if you can see them. And what we're going to do is we're going to roast them in the skillet real quick, and then we're going to make a quick salsa. It's very easy, fresh ingredients, and very tasty. So we're just going to get these in the skillet. It's just a hot skillet. We're just going to set them in here and let them toast for a few minutes. I have some tomatoes, and I already have a bowl of tomatoes here that I've roasted and, like I said, put in the freezer. So I already have those done. I have one large jalapeno here, and about 3 cloves of garlic. Garlic will burn. You got to watch that. You don't want that to stay in too long. And about half an onion here, just cut into big hunks. So we're going to toast all this, and then we're just going to throw it in the blender, and that's all it takes. We're going to use some cumin, a little bit of sugar to cut the acid in the tomatoes, and the salt. And typically people put cilantro in their salsa. I am not a fan of cilantro at all, so I do not put that in there. You can add that in there if you'd like. I think we're going to come out to about 6 or 7 cups of tomatoes. For this recipe. If you have watched any of my videos, you kind of see, unless I'm baking something, I really don't measure per se. I just kind of go by taste. So I'll make the salsa, we'll give it a taste, and then we'll adjust any seasonings we need to adjust for that. And I do have some lime here also. I have, I'm wanting to can it. It's not going to make a lot of salsa, but I want to can it. We're about to plant our second crop of tomatoes, and hopefully it'll do a little bit better. We kind of got stunted by a late frost in April here with our crops, so I didn't get as much of a harvest as I would hope to get, but we're about to do a fall planting. So I am going to can this. I do have my bottles of my jars going in my canner just to heat them up, because this salsa is going to be warm because we are toasting all this. I probably are heating way too many jars for what we're going to make, but I can hope, right? So we're just going to give all this in a flip. Get a little char on them. Just adds a little depth of flavor. Just doing this smells really good. So a couple of weeks ago we did spaghetti sauce together, and then probably about a month ago, I guess, and then we did some vanilla extract, lemon extract, made some celery salts, freeze dried some basil from the garden, green onions from the garden, made a garlic powder, an onion powder with the freeze dried onions. So we're getting some projects done. It's exciting to grow your own food and see what you can do with them. So this recipe is loosely based off a Pioneer Woman's restaurant salsa recipe. She uses canned tomatoes and canned rotel, and that's what I've always done in the past. But now that I'm growing my own tomatoes, of course, I'm going to go ahead and make it from scratch here. Well, the others from scratch too, but from homegrown ingredients. And get my blender cup here so I can just toss these ingredients in as they start getting ready. So once I get some tomatillos off my plants, they are kind of late with their production. I got a lot of blooms on them. have a lot of fruit on them right now, but they're not ready to be ripe. But they are purple tomatillos, and as soon as those are ready, we'll do a tomatillo salsa together also. I'm super excited about that. I love tomatillo salsa. They have a little bit of a tang to them, so you don't have to add the lime to your salsa when you make those. It's just a different flavor, really good. Usually you see it as like a green salsa in a restaurant maybe, but I love purple. It's my favorite color. So when I ordered my seeds, I got purple tomatillos. All right, my onions are starting to get a little charring on them, so we'll throw those in the blender. Got some of my garlic out already. This is just a dry skillet, just heated up iron skillet. So typically, I feel like typically Roma tomatoes are used in salsa because it's not a lot of the liquid part of the tomato. It's more fleshy tomato, so it doesn't make your salsa too watery. All right, so that nice charring. We can see that. Nice charring on that jalapeno. My peppers out in the garden aren't producing yet either. Have lots of flowers on them, but again, I had to restart everything after that late freeze we had, and they just had a time trying to come back. All right, all this in the blender. Let's skillet off the heat there. These are my tomatoes I already had done. Get these in here too. From freezing the tomatoes, it did release a lot of the liquid in there, so just trying to scoop that out. All right. Just rearrange here so we can get this blender on. All right, I have all my ingredients in the blender, except for our seasonings. We're going to just go ahead and get these blended up real quick. Kind of rearrange a little bit. Well, I need that to come up. Lime on. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to pour this juice out into the sink so I can just reuse this bowl. Alright, when you have something hot in a blender, make sure you kind of open it away from yourself because it could, the heat can make it expand, it kind of make it pop in your face. So just be very careful with that. Alright, I'm going to pour that in here. I'll go ahead and cut my lime in half. A little trick I do when I'm wanting to squeeze my lime is I will do little slits on either side of it, and that way it will squeeze a lot easier in my squeezer. Lime skins are much thicker than a lemon skin, so I find that really helps it to do that. All right, so we'll put some lime in there. We're going to start off with about a half a teaspoon of salt. Probably going to need a little bit more, so we'll do 3/4 of a teaspoon. We're going to start off with a half a teaspoon of sugar and a half a teaspoon of cumin. All right, I'm going to give this a stir. All right, I'm going to go grab a chip and we are going to taste this. Put some in a little bowl. My little kid's LSU bowl from when my kids were little. My youngest is 20 now. Still have the bowl though. All right, we'll give this a little taste together real quick. I think it still needs a little bit more salt and probably a little bit more cumin. The sugar level's fine. I think I'm going to add some more lime to it also. All right, I'm making a different bowl because we've added some ingredients. All right, new chip. You can taste the freshness of the ingredients, but yet a little bit more depth of flavor with that roasting. It's really good. When I do serve my salsa, what I like to do is cut up a red onion and add it to that, because once you can it and it processes it, it's going to cook it. So if you chop up a red onion just really fine and add some to it, it adds that freshness back in, which is really good. And then also, when I go to make guacamole, all I do is I clean out, like scoop out an avocado, kind of mash it up, and then add some salsa to it, and adds all your ingredients you need for your guacamole. So it's a good way to kind of get a 2-for-1 thing out of this. One more little taste. It's good. All right, I'm going to pull my jars out, and then I'll clean all my mess up, pull my jars out, and then we'll come back together to can all this together. Okay, I think I heated up way too many jars. I really thought I had more tomatoes than I did. So this is what I have. I'm going to do one of the bigger jars, and then finish off with the smaller ones. My daughter's going to the beach with some friends, and she wants to take some salsa with her, so I'm going to go ahead and do one of the, I guess it's a pint jar, and then the rest of them are going to be half pints. So I have my little canning funnel here, and I'm just going to start ladling it all in and just see what I can fill up. All right, I like to leave about an inch headspace in the tops of my jars. You just don't want it to expand too much and then kind of blow your top off. So that's about what I do, is an inch. I'll leave a link to all my items down in the description if you wanted to get into canning and need some items and you're not sure what to get. So this is a tomato-based product. It's very acidic, so you can water bath can this. You don't have to pressure can it. I know sometimes it scares people to pressure can things, but water bathing makes it pretty easy. Get one more out of this. I have a ball, which is the brand of the Jars canning cookbook. It's a pretty good guideline as to let you know what can be pressure canned and what can be water bath canned. So if you're new to canning and unsure of how to do things, if you follow those FDA guidelines, it'll really help and steer you. And then some people get off into what's called rebel canning and kind of do like their grandmothers used to do and don't quite follow all the guidelines. I'm going to grab a paper towel real quick so we can wipe those rims off. So just have a paper towel. I'm going to dip into a little bit of vinegar here just to wipe the rims of the jars off. You want to make sure they're clean so they seal properly. I'm going to turn my burner up so we can get it to a boil. So I'm going to wipe my rims off. So we got 1 pint and 4 half pints of the salsa today, which is totally fine. Put my lid and my ring on. You put your lids on, and then you screw your rings on fingertip tight, which is like a gentle screw down. Just put it on and just screw it on like that. Put that one crooked. I'm going to put these jars in my canner, and then once it comes to a boil, you need to have the water over the top of the jar. Once the water comes to a boil, then you're going to boil it for 15 minutes, and then they're done. Might have to add some more water to my pot here. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is put these other jars back in. Instead of adding cold water to my pot, I'll add these jars back in to take up space. And it'll help my jars from bouncing around. I do have a rack in the bottom of my canner. You need to do that also because if they bounce on the bottom, they could break. Looks like I'm still going to have to add some more water in. So I'm going to grab some more water and add it to my pot. Alright, and then something else I like to do is a little bit of vinegar I have left in my little bowl. I'll dump that in there. That keeps the minerals from the water adhering to your jars. So a little bit of vinegar in there. We'll put the lid on it, and I'll keep an eye on it. When it starts boiling, I'll set a timer for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back together and pull the jars out. Okay, the jars have been boiling for 15 minutes, and I let them kind of sit just to kind of let it settle out a little bit for about 5 minutes now. We're going to pull them out, put them on our towel here on the counter, and we're going to let them sit for 24 hours before we do anything. Once they have sat for 24 hours, you're going to make sure they've sealed. You can, if a jar doesn't seal, it'll pop back and forth like if you push on the lid of it. If it does seal, it will be firm and you won't be able to pop that. You'll take the rings off after 24 hours and mark your jars, what's in the jar, what when you made them. And then you do not store your canned goods with the rings on them, because if they were to unseal, and if for whatever reason, if the ring is on there and it holds the lid tight enough, it can seal back, and then you'll have a false seal and you could be eating food that's been contaminated. So you do store your jars without the rings on them. So I'm going to pull them out of the canner now. Salsa is one of the quickest, easiest little things to get done and canned. Let's see if you can see it on this big jar. So if you can see, it has separated a little bit. So when I go to serve this, I would just stir that back together. But that's the juice that is cooked out of the tomatoes. But let's see. Instead of crossing my arm, there we go. Anyway, there's our salsa. I hope you try this recipe. It's super tasty. We eat a lot of Mexican food. Not just Mexican, but any kind of Hispanic food. We love to eat that kind of food around here. Kind of thinking about maybe doing a little series of Hispanic food. Love it. It's my favorite. Other than Louisiana food, Mexican's my favorite. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you subscribe to the channel and follow along. I don't know if you just heard it click. They kind of make like a clicking noise whenever they seal down. If you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like to see, just leave those in the comment section, and share this video with others if you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.